together with Earle Sports Bets. Yeah, the twins, they be checking in, stacking up. Green is the scene that you're stepping in. Winning is a trend, and we stay making dollars. Nerd talk with the sports bet scholars. Yeah, R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies.
We are live. Welcome back to another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. My name is Nicholas Earle. Just me today. Tim under the weather today, so it'll just be me running the show. And we have, I believe, 9 games in the NBA, 10 games in the NHL. So we have 19 games to go over. So we're not going to waste too much time here. Quick recap of yesterday. Slightly profitable, so any day in the black is a good day, I guess. In college basketball, it was a perfect 2-0 sweep. Duke laying the 20.5 gets the job done. Feeling I'm going to move on them to win the Natty after the show is over. So that's something I'm kind of looking at as well. And then Montana State minus 5.5. They get the job done. They win by 15 against Idaho. And then for the NBA, it was a split. Washington plus 8.5. They lose by 16, but Sacramento gets the job done, win by 24. NHL went 1-2. Buffalo minus 105 was a loser. They came all the way back, forced overtime, just so losing overtime. So that was frustrating there. The Islanders had their first goal taken back and then just proceeded to fall apart the rest of the game. If that's not a message to Lou Lamoriello that they need to sell, I don't know what is. So Islanders in a perfect situation yesterday were unable to get the job done. Team that was able to get the job done. How about them Sharks? I ended up taking the +2 line on them, laying $1.21, playing it safe. They win the game outright in overtime and a shootout, my bad. I thought they were going to keep it close. I thought potentially it was going to be an overtime type of game. I did not have them winning in overtime, though. So, I mean, do I wish I took the 3-1 on them? Absolutely. Hindsight is 20/20. But am I going to lose sleep over not doing that? No. So overall up 0.85 units yesterday. Nothing crazy, but any day in the black is a good day as always. So there's that. We will head over to the chat and then we will get into today's games. Salutations. What is good, Isaacs? Let's have a great day. Let's do it. I've already moved on one NHL game so far, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. If you don't mind, let Tim know. I hope he feels better. Will do. And Nicholas Handy, what is good? Let's head into today's card. We're going to kick it on off with the Indiana Pacers hosting the Houston Rockets. The Pacers 3.5-point favorites in this game, total of 230.5. That caught me a little bit by surprise, seeing the Pacers favored in this game right off the rip. Wow. Actually, I didn't realize how decent of a season the Pacers are having. They're 5th in the Eastern Conference and they're 9 games over. I didn't realize Pacers were playing that well. And this has been a Pacers-dominated matchup. They've won 9 of the last 10 meetings. The only game the Houston won was the last one. Line opened up at a 4. It's down to a 3.5. So we do have a half-point line movement here towards Houston. Line opened up at a 229. It's now 231.5. So move towards the over here as well. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this matchup here, where we have, 63% of the tickets, 69% of cash is on the Pacers. The line's moving towards Houston. Definitely piques my interest in the Rockets. 89% of tickets, 92% of the cash is on the over here as well. The line has at least moved towards the over for those who like the over. The Pacers coming in off of a 15-point win as an 11.5-point favorite against the Chicago Bulls. On the flip side, back-to-back losses now for the Houston Rockets against the Sacramento Kings and against the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is the second half of a back-to-back and a third game in 4 nights for the Rockets. And the Pacers had a day off and they're at home. Situationally, I mean, this spot probably plays out well for the Pacers. They definitely had the rest advantage. They're at home. They were at home their last game. They're off of a win, which was a little bit of a bounce back after losing to Miami. Houston is off of back-to-back losses, but they had to travel from Oklahoma City to Indiana. The market does like Houston here in this spot. We're seeing 63%, 69% cash on the Pacers. Line moving towards Houston. So the market's saying Houston's a live dog in this game. And I can kind of get behind that there. For me, it would be probably Houston or no bet. I think ultimately the third game in 4 nights, the second half of a back-to-back with the last two games being on tonight and last night being on the road, will ultimately keep me off the Houston Rockets. But that's the only side I can really look at in this game. Would be taking a shot with Houston at the plus points. They have been a strong team this year, 37-24, 32-27-2 ATS. So they have been a team that's done pretty well on the road as well, 17-13. Indiana, 18-9 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse there in Indiana. So they've been a decent home team as well. So I would lean towards taking the points with the Houston Rockets. But the third game in 4 nights, I think, is ultimately going to keep me off of this spot. But it is Rockets or no bet for me. Am I crazy if I bet Bulls money line at home? Let's take a look. Cavaliers. Ooh. Maybe I would take the points rather than money line, but I mean, if you want to go for a score, friends don't talk friends off of dogs. Morning, I took Georgia money line and Nevada money line. You mean New Mexico money line? All right, let's take a look. Let me get up my spreadsheet here for college basketball. See what we've got for today. There we go. You said Georgia. Yeah, we have value on. We have the wrong team favored in that game. We are on Georgia today. We have the wrong team favored in that spot, and then New Mexico is the other one. New Mexico. I think that line's correct. We have it 1.5. So no play in the New Mexico game, but we will be on the Bulldogs of Uga. Let's get into the next matchup here. The Orlando Magic. 7-point favorites, total 209.5. Let's take a look at the line history in this one. Opened up at a 6.5. It's now a 7.5. So we do have a move towards Orlando in this game. Line opened up at a 209. It's now 209.5. So we do have a move towards the over here as well. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this game. See if it makes sense that the line's moving towards the Magic. 59%, 50% of tickets, 59% of cash is on Orlando, making them kind of appealing in this matchup. 77% of tickets and 78% of cash is on the over in this one as well. Orlando has struggled a little bit as of late. The market kind of likes them, though. 3 straight losses, including a loss against this Toronto Raptors team in their last game at home. And this will be, they have one more game on this homestand. This is their sixth home game, part of a 7-game homestand. The last one will be on the 6th against Chicago. This is the last game of a 4-game road trip for Toronto. Everything's starting to correlate here for me to make a move on Orlando. I think this is a really strong Orlando spot. The more and more I look at it, laying the points in this one, you're coming in. And I see this very similar to the Phoenix Suns matchup the other day against the New Orleans Pelicans. They had lost the previous matchup, and they play in the same arena, and it's like a day or two later. And I think we can make the same bets in that game and it's the same odds too to make those bets. And I'm doubling up on the Orlando Magic in this spot. We have Orlando off of that loss against Toronto, so it's the rapid revenge spot, very similar to the Phoenix game the other day where I played the Phoenix Suns first half in full game. I'm going to do the same here in this one. Orlando Magic first half -4, -110. And full game -7.5, -110. The first half I got on Bet365. The full game I also got on Bet365. So I will be on the Orlando Magic, doubling up on Orlando in this spot, first half and full game. I like this as a really strong revenge spot here for Orlando. So that's where we're going to go in this game, first half and full game with the Orlando Magic here. Just put that up on the Capper Tech. All right, we will continue on here. We have the Golden State Warriors taking on the New York Knicks. The Knicks are 5-point favorites, total 229.5. Let's take a look at the line history. And this one opened up at a 4.5. It got up to a 5 at one point, but it's back down to a 4.5. So we do have really no line movement in this game. And it did get down to a 3.5 at one point, got up to a 5, but overall, not much line movement there. Line opened up at a 237, and it's done nothing but plummet down to a 228.5. Taking a look at the cash flow on this one here, 84% of tickets, 82% of cash on the over, but how much is that on the 228 rather than the 237? And honestly, at this number, I would prefer probably looking at the over in this game if I am betting this, with the line dropping 9 points. On the flip side, we have 70% of tickets and 66% of the cashes on the Golden State Warriors, and the line's not moving. So we have the Warriors we have the public on the Warriors with the line not budging. Tells me probably the New York Knicks are the play in this game. Let's take a look here. The Knicks are off of 3 straight wins. They did not cover as 6-point favorites in their last game against Miami. On the flip side, Golden State, they're coming in off of an 18-point win against Charlotte. They have one more road game. It is on the 6th against Brooklyn before they head on home to play Detroit and Portland. So this is the 4th game of a 5-game road trip for the Golden State Warriors. This will be actually the second half of a back-to-back, a 3rd game in 4 nights for them. I'm going to move on New York in this game here. And I wouldn't talk to anybody if you guys are the parlaying type, which I do not advocate for here, but that is beyond the point. I would look towards a 2-teamer with the Magic and the Knicks are plus 107 on a 2-teamer for those interested in that. But looking at this game here, I'm going to move on the New York Knicks, just full game. I think that if you like the Golden State Warriors, I would look more towards them first half than full game, because I do think that this is a spot where the Warriors could jump out early, but the Knicks run away with it late with the fatigue hitting in here. With the travel, they've gone from Orlando to Philly to Charlotte. And this is the second half of a back-to-back. It's a 3rd game in 4 nights. And it's a 4th game in 6 nights for the Golden State Warriors. A lot of basketball they've played on the road here in the last 6 nights. So I do think the New York Knicks probably run away with this game late. The public loves Golden State for whatever reason. They have been playing a little bit better as of late. But for me in this spot, I will go ahead and I'll lay the 4.5 with the New York Knicks minus 110 over on, I believe Bet365 has that, and Fanatics is as well. I did. That's right. I locked it in on Fanatics. So Knicks for me in this one. Nice. What's going on, Dave? What's going on? We'll continue on. The Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Atlanta Hawks. Bucks minus 6.5. Total of 240 in this game here. Let's take a look at the line history in this game, where it opened up Bucks minus 6.5. It's now Bucks minus 7. So we do have a move towards this Bucks team as road favorites here in this one. And line opened up at a 251.5, and it's done nothing but plummet down to 240.5. Maybe this is another spot where you can buy the dip. And you can go ahead and grab the over now that it's dropped a tremendous amount. I think that's just market correction, that this line should have never been up in the 250s. I think this is more of a correct line here in the 240 range. Taking a look at the cash flow, 61% ticket, 60% cash on the over. I'm assuming that's coming in at the 240 number rather than the 250 number. 55% tickets, 63% cash on the Bucks. The line's moving towards the Bucks in this one. The Atlanta Hawks are coming in on a second half of a back-to-back. They did beat the Memphis Grizzlies last night as 8-point dogs outright. And now they get to head home. They went from Memphis back to Atlanta. Milwaukee is coming in off of a 15-point win in their last game, but that was back on March the 1st. They traveled from Dallas to Atlanta. Not a huge travel with a few days off. I think this is a nice rested Bucks team in this spot. And I hate being on a bunch of favorites, but this feels like another nice situational spot to back Milwaukee. We have the sharper money coming in on Milwaukee. The line's moving towards them. It feels like everything kind of correlates. It's the second half of a back-to-back for the Atlanta Hawks. Is it a 3rd game in 4 days? No, it's not. They did have a couple days off beforehand. They're coming off of a very satisfying win. I see this as a game that the Bucks are going to come in and take care of business. I can get minus 6.5, minus 115 over on Fanatics. I'm on yet another favorite. It's gross. But I'm going to here laying 6.5 on the road with Milwaukee. to take care of business against Atlanta. Atlanta off a very satisfying win. I think this is a letdown spot for them potentially here against a Bucks team that has been playing a little bit better as of late, with back-to-back wins in 6 of their last 7. And their only loss was as a 3-point dog. They lost by 3 to Houston. So a Bucks team that is playing better as of late. I'll look to back them here. -6.5, -115 for me over on BetMGM. This Bucks line is moving. They're about to smash. Yes, they are. Boston today, Bruins. No, I'm anti-Bruins at the moment. But in order to fade the Bruins today, you have to back the Predators. And I end up not betting the Penguins the other day against the Bruins just because I never even looked at the card. But I'm glad I stayed off of that spot with the Penguins. I feel like this could be a spot to hop on the Preds, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. But we'll continue on with the association. We have the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Chicago Bulls. We have the Cavaliers 12.5-point favorites, total 244.5. Let's take a look at the matchup here where we have this line opening up at a 12. It's now a 12.5. So we do have a move towards these Cleveland Cavaliers. And taking a look at the line history, another game that has moved towards the under. It opened up at a 244, got all the way up to a 248.5 at one point, now back down to a 243. So a line movement towards the under, even though the initial line move was a massive one towards the over. 70% of tickets, 68% of cash is coming in on the over. 72% of tickets, 68% of the cash is coming in on the Cavaliers. The lines move slightly towards the Cavaliers in this game here. I have no interest in laying this many points on the road, but do I really want to fade this Cavaliers team right now? The answer is simple no. They've won 10 in a row. They did not cover in their last game against Portland as 10.5-point favorites. They are 6-3-1 ATS in their last 10 games, though, so they are a team that is covering a decent amount as well. Chicago, 2-8 in their last 10 games, 5-5 ATS, so they are covering as dogs. They actually, last game they lost as 11.5-point dogs by 15, which snapped a 5-game covering streak for the Chicago Bulls. If I'm looking to bet this game, it is Chicago Bulls or no bet. I'm not laying 12.5 on the road with Cleveland. It is not a motivational spot for them to lay 12.5. The line has moved slightly towards the Cavaliers, but with the amount of money coming in on them, does not surprise me. Actually, I expected the line to move to the Cavaliers with the way the market's coming in on this game. So for me, it's Bulls or no bet. That's the only way I can look at this game. Chicago is 5-1 ATS in the last 6 games, so they have been covering as dogs, even though they've only won 2 of those games. And this is a tanking Bulls team kind of, but somehow still is in a play-in spot. But I believe they're getting chased down for that 10th seed for a chance to be bounced out of the playoffs in one game. Brooklyn is now 2.5 games behind them. Philly's 2.5 games behind them as well. They're 4 games behind the Hawks. So the Hawks feel pretty safe in a playoff spot there, or a play-in spot. But, and actually, they're a half game behind Orlando. So that's an interesting spot as well there. The difference between the top play-in spot and the 7, 8, and 9 seed is 1.5 games between Miami, Orlando, and Atlanta. So that's kind of interesting there. Those 3 fighting it out for a play-in spot to play 1 game in the play-in, have home court advantage in the play-in, whatever. So no action for me here in this game. It is Bulls or no bet, though, for me. That would be the only way I would look at this game. Only 22 games left in the NBA, 22 NHL games left in the season. Yes. Yeah. You like the Avalanche or Stars better today? I do think the Avalanche take care of business. The only problem is you have to lay a puck line -1.5 and -110. The Stars are against the Devils. The Devils without Jack Hughes is going to be interesting. I want to take a deeper look into that game. Not 100% sure, but yeah. Predators got so lucky versus the Jets. Ever since that lucky win, they've been on a losing streak. Screw you, Predators. Fair. I've been off the Predators the last couple of games. I was on them against the Winnipeg Jets. I thought it was a bad spot for the Winnipeg Jets against the Preds in that game. So, Tee-hee. I'm assuming IceX has probably – I'm going to guess IceX is on the Preds. I didn't even look at your plays yet. But Let's get into the next matchup here. We have the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Philadelphia 76ers. Minus 13.5 for the Timberwolves, total 223.5. It's now up to a 14. The Timberwolves are 14-point favorites. Line opened up at a 221.5. It's now 222, which I believe it did get up to a 223.5, and there has been buyback on the under in this game here. We have 52% of tickets, 68% of cash on the T-Wolves, and the line's moving towards them. 86% of tickets, 87% of cash is on the over in this one as well. As I mentioned a couple shows ago, I will not bet the Philadelphia 76ers the remainder of the season. I am done losing money on this team. And on the flip side, though, there's no way in hell I'm laying 14 points with the Minnesota Timberwolves. That is just plain simply never going to happen. This is not a Minnesota Timberwolves team I trust, even though if I'm playing, I'm laying. But these are two untrustworthy teams right now. I don't want to take the points with the Sixers, who are 1-9 straight up and 2-8 ATS the last 10 games. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are 4-6 straight up and 5-5 ATS. And this is their first game back after a 4-game road trip where they were in OKC, LA, Utah, and Phoenix. I'm not interested in this game whatsoever. Pretty plain simple. This is an easy pass for me. We will move on. But yeah, no, I have no interest in this game whatsoever. Oh, no, I passed on the shit show of a game. I'm just saying tee-hee because of Preds Jets. Yes, that was a fun game for us, right? I had Preds, I think it was plus 117. It wasn't a great payout, but that line told you everything you needed to know about that game. And I saw a lot of people fall for the Winnipeg Jets in that game. Hopefully, we're not falling for the Winnipeg Jets tonight and they get the job done, because I am on Winnipeg -1. That's my only NHL play so far. But let's get into the next one here. The Brooklyn Nets taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Line opened up at a 5, and it went down to a 4, and we're staying at a 4 now. So really no line movement or move towards Brooklyn immediately, and then nothing really afterwards. Line opened up 224. It's now at 228. So move towards the over here as well. Wow, 74% of tickets, 73% of cash is on the San Antonio Spurs in this game, with the line moving against them. And then 72% of tickets, 72% of the cash is on the over as well. One thing to keep in mind as well, after the line did go from a 5 to a 4, it's moved 5 cents in the direction of the Brooklyn Nets. So even after the 4, and we're starting to see some 3.5s out there, which is very, very appealing if you like the Brooklyn Nets, who have lost 4 in a row heading into this game, and they've covered in just one of them. San Antonio, they're coming in off of a loss here. This is their third game in 4 nights. Not a second half of a back-to-back. They already played that back-to-back against Memphis and OKC. They got the OKC took care of them as 13-point favorites. OKC won by 14. So they did cover in that game there. I want the Brooklyn Nets in this game. I do. And I will take the points with them here in this spot. The market is screaming Nets in this game, especially seeing some 3.5 start to pop up. Luckily, I can still grab a 4 -110 over on Bet365. But I would grab those before they're gone, because I'm starting to see some 3.5s pop up, and it would not shock me to see this be more like 3.5 -115 for the Nets, or maybe even down to a 3 by tip-off tonight. So I will continue on my card here with the Brooklyn Nets at plus 3.5, or plus 4 in this game, plus 4 -110 against the San Antonio Spurs. So yeah, I'm getting a 4 here with the Brooklyn Nets. I'm going to take that. 76ers, 14-6-2 versus the West. Wolves shoot a lot of threes. Over is the play. Yeah. God damn it. Yeah. T-Wolves raced to 10 points in the first quarter, -155. Good luck. Never mind. I swear to gosh, if the Jets start Comrie. Here's the thing is, I think that we could see Sark for the Islanders. I would be I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't start Sorokin tonight, the Islanders. The only NBA teams I'm fading right now are the Sixers and now the Spurs. Yeah, I can understand that. You lose your big man. But we'll continue on. 2 games remaining in the NBA, where we have the Los Angeles Clippers taking on the Phoenix Suns. We have the Clippers 2.5-point favorites in this game, total 225.5. Line opened up at a 2, it's now a 2.5. Line opened up 224, it's down to a 220, or it's up to a 225. So we do have a move towards the over here as well. Quick look at the money line for the Clips. It opened up at a 130, it's now 140. Okay, so we do have a move towards them on the money line there as well. Taking a look at the cash flow in this game, 65% of tickets, 56% of the cash on the Clippers spread, 60 and 57 on the money line. So not really sharp money coming in on the Clippers here in this spot. And then we have 84% of tickets, 86% of the cash is on the over in this one here. One thing I've really done with the NBA is just cut totals completely out of my caps. And because I believe totals has been where I've kind of struggled in the NBA this year, sides of where I've done pretty well. I have no interest in this game whatsoever. Clippers coming in off of back-to-back losses against the Lakers. This is their last game of a really long road trip, though. It started before the All-Star break in Utah. After the All-Star break, they were in Milwaukee, Indiana, Detroit, Chicago, LA. So they've been back at home, really, playing LA the last 2 games. But this is the last game on the road trip. Now they head to Phoenix. And then they get probably a nice homestand, starting with Detroit, New York, and Sacramento. I have no interest in this game here. I guess it's Suns or nothing for me in this game, but I really don't trust the Suns. And the line's not moving. I mean, the line's whatever compared to what the money is coming in. I guess it should move towards the Clippers. Maybe if you can get a 3, give me a full bucket with the Suns, I'll be interested in Phoenix in this game. But not a game I'm going to get involved with. It's a systematic play, losing big man theory. That's fair. It's very similar in the NHL when you're missing a couple defensemen. I like to fade you as well. Jets playing down would be they start Comrie. Sarek getting the nod would be interesting yet annoying thing, meaning Skarek might either poop or shine tonight. I don't trust Sarek at all. I really, really don't. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Last game on the NBA card, though, was we have the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the New Orleans Pelicanos in this one here. 8.5-point favorites are the Lakers, total 229.5. Line opened up at an 8, now an 8.5. Line opened up 233.5, down to a 229.5. So we do have a move towards the under in this game here. We have a slight move towards the Lakers. 78% of tickets, 72% of cash on the Lakers. Makes sense that the line is moving towards them. 78% of tickets, 76% of the cash is on the over here as well. Another game I really don't have too much of an interest in. I don't really want the Pelicans. This is their 4th game on the last game of a 4-game road trip for them. They were in Phoenix for 2 games, Utah, and now they're in LA. They'll head home to play Houston before they hit the road to play Houston and then come back home to play Memphis. So a lot of traveling for this New Orleans Pelicans team. Meanwhile, the Lakers have been chilling at home. This is their 5th game of a 6-game homestand. They get the Knicks on the 6th to close it out. They are 4-0 on this homestand against Dallas, Minnesota, LA, and LA. So they've taken care of business. They've covered in all but the Dallas game, which they didn't cover by a hook in that game. They were 8.5-point favorites. They win by 8. So this has been a Lakers team that's been winning. They've been covering. They've been playing good as of late. I'm not in the business of trying to fade this Lakers team right now. But on the flip side, I'm not interested in but I'm not interested in laying all the points with the Lakers in the spot here. So it'll be a pretty simple pass for me. Looking at this card here, looks like I'll have four sides, 5 plays, a double up on the Magic, the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Nets. So that's what my NBA card looks like there. Well, if you and Islanders die hard and saying that, I should believe you, not trying to do your voodoo. No, honestly, I am buying into the Islanders need to do what the Capitals did a couple years ago, where they retooled at the deadline and look where they are now. I think that the plan is in place there. If Lou wants to follow that path, which we'll talk about. We'll talk more of the Islanders when we talk Islanders Jets in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. All right. Well, we'll get more to. I'll spend a couple minutes on Islander talk. All right. I follow this team more than any other NHL team, and I feel like I can read them pretty well. Obviously, I got them dead wrong last night, but I feel like I've had a decent read on this Islanders team this year. And I'll break them down there. When we get to it. But we'll move on. First game of the card, the Calgary Flames are taking on the Philadelphia Flyers in this matchup. The Flyers -140 favorites in this game with a total of 5.5. This is an interesting matchup. We have a Calgary team that is competing for a playoff spot right now. They're coming in on their 3rd straight loss, though. And they get one more game on the road before they head back to Calgary. This has been a team that struggled away from the Saddle Dome, 11, 13, and 5. So 11 been 18 on the puck line or on the money line on the road this year, including the last 3 games where they've scored a whopping 1 total goal. They lost 2-1 in overtime to the Hurricanes as plus 254 underdogs. And then they got shut out back-to-back games against the Lightning and the Panthers, losing both those games by a score of 3-0. On the flip side, the Philadelphia Flyers are coming and playing well. They're coming in off of a nice shootout win against the Winnipeg Jets. They've received points in 4 of their last 5 games, and actually in 5 straight games, where their only loss was that 5-4 overtime loss against the Penguins, the only game I have bet the Penguins money line so far this season. Looking at this spot here, I am not really interested in laying a number with the Flyers, but backing this Flames team right now does seem a little difficult. Offensively, I want to see a little bit more from them, and maybe this would be just an under. I feel like that would be the only place I'd really look in this game. Would probably look towards an under. As for injuries, they're missing Mantha, which he's been out for a little bit. Calgary side is a healthy Calgary Flames team, and I don't know what to read about this Philadelphia Flyers team right now, because I think their advanced metrics are probably better than the results that they've had this year. I was very low on Flyers, well on my way to cashing their under point total. They have Ryan Ellis on the IR, who's been on the IR for a while, and Garnet Hathaway day to day. 2 healthiest teams. I guess it's dog or pass for me. I would only look at the Flames in this game. I think the Flames have a little bit more to play for, and they're on 3 straight losses where they've not played really well. And you would think, and obviously they did win their first game on the road trip. You'd think they don't want to go 1-4 to start the road trip heading into Dallas. That's going to be a tough game against Dallas. It's probably Dallas -1 or puck line on that game. Looking at this game here, I can only look towards the Flames in this spot at a plus price tag. I don't want to lay this type of number on Philly. And I think that's pretty plain simple there for me. No action here in this one for me. Breaking news, Kyrie Irving has suffered a season-ending injury towards ACL in his left knee. Ouch. Heard. Flames money line / Flames and reg. So yeah, we look that way. Flames money line, Flames team total over. That's not a bad look. The only problem is they've scored 1 goal in the last 3 games, but maybe this could be the offensive breakout they're looking for. Lakers winning cover. I like this momentum they're on. Yeah, they've looked really good as of late. I'm definitely not fading the Lakers as of right now. Owen Tippett plus 250 goal. I can see that. The New Jersey Devils minus Jack Hughes just had a gruesome shoulder injury. Words. Mitch Koff plus 225 anytime goal. Blue Jackets. Who are the Blue Jackets? Which game is that one? Against Tampa. Tampa off of that loss last night. I don't know yet. I don't know. Kadri goal. Over 5.5. Haha. He might be out the rest of the season. Devils to miss the playoffs is 8-1. The Senators are 8 points behind. What do you think about the Devils missing the playoffs? Here's the alternative angle, and I want to take a look, and I think we can. I think that's a good transition for the next game. No, the Devils are further down. But I want to see New Jersey Devils cap space 2024-25. Because if they put him on long-term IR, that could make the Devils a little bit more dangerous of a team. I wouldn't advocate for this. Now they just brought back up Jacob Markstrom, but you put who do you call it? Jack Hughes on the IR, and where is Hughes? And you get $8 million to work with at the trade deadline. You put him on the long-term IR, that opens up $8 million. You can make a few moves to improve this team with $8 million. So I'm not going to say fade the Devils. And if they believe they're buyers, they will have a lot more to work with after the trade deadline. And right now, their cap space is about $500,000. current cap space is 2.4. You put Hughes on the long-term IR, you're looking at $10 million in cap space to work with during the deadline. So I think that they will be fine. I think that they will be fine. I think if I'm the Devils, I think you're safe enough, really, with 22 games, you're up 8 points. You're not going to fall off the face of the earth. Now, is 8-1 a nice price? Yeah. I'm not going to advocate for it, though, because I think the Devils are going to take the path of what the Lightning have done, what the Golden Knights have done, what the Dallas Stars will do with Sagan's Heiskanen's $7 million on the cap or for cap there. Is they're going to take that extra cap space and they're going to make a trade and fill up that cap space with an improvement in the roster. I wouldn't be surprised if the Devils did that. So, I mean, if you want to sprinkle 8-1, I'm not going to talk you off of it. I don't think the Devils missed the playoffs because I think they win enough games over the rest of the, 20-something games left in order to hold off the Senators where they have an 8-point lead over them. And I think they do make a move at the deadline within the next few days. And I wouldn't be surprised. They put Jack Hughes on the long-term IR, hope he's back by the playoffs, and you go out and you get somebody to replace Hughes for the rest of the regular season. And then you can bring back Jack Hughes for the playoffs where there's no cap space. So something to look at as well. Kuzmenko anytime goal versus his old team. I can see that. Devils are such a weird bipolar team. Win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Yeah, Jacob Markstrom being back I think is going to help that, though, because they've been missing their top goalie for a little bit now. That's why they've struggled a little bit. I forgot what the numbers are for it, but I also, maybe I'm a little bit, I have futures on the New Jersey Devils to win the East and to win the Cup. And I got those back. NJ Devils. I got plus 650 to win the East and 14-1 to win the Cup as well. It is what it is. Not a problem. Yeah. I do believe in the Devils to make a move at the deadline. Let's get to the next game here. The Boston Bruins taking on the Nashville Predators. The Bruins minus 125 favorites, total 5.5 in this game. We're seeing now around minus 130 on some books for the Boston Bruins. The Bruins obviously still dealing with injuries and things along those lines. With their blue line, with McAvoy, and just the lack of depth. Also, I believe this Bruins team, I think it's going to be in sell mode. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded Marchand away. Wouldn't be surprised if Lindholm got traded. Wouldn't be surprised if they traded some pieces away. Their top pairing of Zadorov and Carlo leave a lot to be desired. They have McAvoy out. They have Frederick out. Marchand's day-to-day. Would not be surprised if he gets shipped out. Hampus, Lindholm, their other top defensemen's out. I did not fade the Bruins against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I forgot to, and I did not fade them against the Minnesota Wild either. This is the third game in 4 days for both these teams. Boston played in Pittsburgh and in Minnesota. Nashville played on Long Island and in New York against the Rangers. They got shut out in their last game. I want the Predators in this game. And for me, it is Boston is, I think, still a fade team. I didn't do it this weekend because I just didn't look at the card, to be completely honest, because I was working on other stuff for classes and things like that. But I'll pick up where I left off. The last time I capped a Boston Bruins game, and I was fading them. Plus 110 over on Bet365. I'll get my NHL card started with Nashville in this spot. I want to fade on the Boston Bruins, and I believe they do trade some pieces away as well, which will make them even better fade material as I believe Boston looks to go through a rebuild. And now is that they go through a hardcore rebuild where maybe you consider trading David Pastrnak. That could be an option. Now the Devils probably would be interested in a Pastrnak. That'd be a nice little replacement for Jack Hughes. But I think the Boston Bruins are fade going forward, especially missing Lindholm and McAvoy. You miss your top two defensemen. I'm looking to fade you. Now, we see teams step up without their top two defensemen. The Islanders, during their 7-game winning streak a little while ago, did that. The Rangers did last night, missing Fox and trading away Lindgren and things along those lines, but I don't think that's going to continue. And I think the Bruins are bet against until further notice. So I'm going to go ahead. I want to fade the Boston Bruins again here in the spot. I think I'm going to continue doing it until I lose 2 in a row. So even if I did do it this weekend, where I faded them against both Pittsburgh and against Minnesota, I probably would have had to play Minnesota -1 because they were plus 143, the Bruins in that game, and probably would have had to play Penguins around -140, so probably Penguins -1. So affordable price tag, definitely want to fade them as dogs or as favorites, the Boston Bruins. So I'm on Nashville here, plus 110 on this one. It is tough to trust the Preds, but yeah. Pass. Fair. Preds 0-12 straight up on the road versus East, 2 goals or less in 10 of those 12 games, 1-6 in the last 7. Team total under 2.5 at even money. Bruins puck line plus 200. Yeah. Can you really trust Swayman and the Bruins? I definitely cannot. No, I have been fading the fuck out of the Bruins. I'm going to continue doing it. But yeah, relax, buddy. Hey, I mean, I have my angles. You're all good. Bruins, good luck. Yeah, I'm already actually pretty up on it because I'm 2-0-1, 2 wins and a push doing this. So I believe that even if I lose 2 in a row, I'll be breaking even, and that'll be it. We'll move on, though. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. We have the Lightning -170 favorites, total of 6.5 in this game. We have the Lightning in a kind of a tricky spot. It's their 3rd game in 4 nights, second half of a back-to-back. Probably expecting Johansson in net tonight. So that kind of pumps my enthusiasm on said Lightning. On the flip side, we have the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are coming in off of the Stadium Series game. They got badly outplayed 46-21 for shots in that game in favor of Detroit. However, they won the game 5-3. I want the Lightning after a loss, and that's one thing. The Lightning after a loss. Now, granted, we're talking about Jonas Johansson in net, and I want to take a look real quick. Jonas Johansson potentially in net, and I'm going to assume he is. And I want to look real quick at what this line opened up as. Not that I care about line movement. I want to see if this line has already moved a bunch with the books, assuming that it's going to be Johansson in net. Or if this is a spot where it's -165, -170 now for Tampa Bay, they rule that Johansson's starting this game because you're not going to start Vasilevsky on a second half of back-to-back and a 3rd game in 4 nights, and he has started every single game since January 28th. The Tampa Bay Lightning, the one thing you should be looking at during the trade deadline, you need a backup goaltender. You really, really do. And let's take a look here. It looks like I clicked on the wrong game. It looks like this line opened up at 165. It got up to a 175. It's down to a 160. I'm going to wait for this line to continue to fall. And I'm going to sit and wait for them to announce that it's going to be Johansson in net, and I'm going to take the Lightning -1. Now, does it appeal to me that it's the second half of a back-to-back and a 3rd game in 4 nights for the Tampa Bay Lightning? No. Do I want to fade the Blue Jackets after a win in the Stadium Series game at Ohio State and a spot where they are coming off of a game they got dominated against the Red Wings, but they still found a way to win? Yeah, I would like to fade them off of that spot there. So I'm going to sit back, wait for them to announce Johansson in net, and I'm going to take the Lightning on the -1 line most likely. So that's where I'm looking at for this game. I'm going to look towards Lightning -1. But wait, because Vasilevsky, if they confirm Vasilevsky, I'll probably stay off at this number, and I don't want Vasilevsky starting a 3rd game in 4 nights. I'm looking for Johansson to be in net, and I'll take the Lightning on the -1 line. Draw. Columbus Blue Jackets money line over 6.5. Ken Johnson anytime goal, and Voronkov over 1.5 points at +401. All right. So a little bit of a disagreement there, but that's beyond the point. Let's move on. We have the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Detroit Red Wings. We have the Hurricanes around minus 200 road favorites now, so definitely a line movement towards them here in this spot. The Carolina Hurricanes coming in off of a rather lackluster, not a lackluster, but they went to overtime as minus 295 favorites against Calgary in their last game. They badly outplayed them, though. They went 0 for 6 on the power play, but they outshot them 33-16 in that game. So a game that definitely should have resulted in a bigger win for the Carolina Hurricanes, which was following that 3-1 loss against Edmonton. Another spot where they're in their third game in 4 nights. However, not a second half of a back-to-back. They did not play last night. It's also a 4th game in 6 days for the Carolina Hurricanes. So a lot of hockey being played there for Carolina. Not as much for Detroit. Their last game, though, was at the Horseshoe there at Ohio State. They lost 5-3 in a game that they definitely should have gotten a little bit better of a result in that game. And for me, I'm kind of torn on this game. Part of me wants Carolina on the puck line. The other one wants to take a shot on the Red Wings in this game, which ultimately means probably just stay off this spot. But I just don't know which way to go with this game. I don't trust Carolina on the road. If I want to back Carolina, it's going to be at the Lenovo Center in Raleigh, where they are 23-7-1 this year compared to 12-18 on the money line on the road. So the Carolina Hurricanes have just not been a good road team. And if the playoffs would start right now, I believe they would be they would be at home against the Devils in a best-of-7 series. If Jack Hughes is back, I'm kind of interested in the Devils to win that series, because I know a lot of people, because I'm not high on this Carolina team whatsoever. And I think the Devils can kind of neutralize that if Hughes is back and they make a move at the deadline. I think that they can utilize them being better on the road, the Devils. So there's something to think about there. But for me in this game, it's a pass in this spot. I feel torn on either side for this one. So no play here for me. Super pass to the bin. Fair. Kane's puck line. Aho anytime goal. Morning Nick was good untouchable. DeBrincat anytime goal plus 160. Yep. Disappointed that the only dog I took on the money line, New York Islanders, got their butt kicked. Yeah, it was frustrating. I was on them as well. It was one of my favorite spots on the card. Unders for both Florida, Chicago, and Toronto were fine, as well as overs in Washington, Montreal. There you go. And you're looking at the under in that game as well. I could see an under potentially in this game. But we'll move on. This is a tricky one here. We have the San Jose Sharks taking on the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres are minus 220 favorites in this game with a total of 6.5. How the hell are Buffalo laying this type of number? They've lost 3 games in a row. Granted, this is a team they could beat up on. We said there were winnable games against Montreal, and they lost both of them. The Sharks are coming in off of a win in their last game. This is the 6th road game of 7 for them. Their last one will be in Colorado to close it out before they head home to play the Islanders. On the flip side, Buffalo, they're coming in on 3 straight losses. They will hit the road. They will hit the road after this. They'll head to Florida to take on Tampa Bay and the Panthers on the 6th and the 8th. So tough, a little bit of a tough road. This is if you're the Sabres, I mean, I'm not going to say must win because the Sabres are eliminated basically. Not mathematically yet, but come on. And looking at this spot here, I mean, damn, I want San Jose a little bit at this dog price. And the funny thing is, I was like, I want to fade San Jose after watching them go to a shootout against Toronto last night, but they probably got the best matchup possible for a back-to-back. Is they didn't have to travel that much from Toronto to Buffalo. And Buffalo played an overtime game themselves. They came all the way back from down 3-0 to tie up the game 3-3, go to overtime just to lose in overtime. So 2 teams off of overtime games last night. The Sharks in off of a win, the Sabres off of a loss. I think this line's way too wide. This is San Jose or no bet. But do I want to trust San Jose to win 2 in a row? Because I would love to know when the last time San Jose has won 2 games in a row. And that would be all the way back on January 2nd and 4th against the Lightning and the Devils. That was with Yaroslav Askarov in net. And that was okay. They won 3 in a row earlier in the season. They've had 2 3-game winning streaks. That was on October 28th, 29th, and 31st against Utah, LA, and Chicago. And then they followed that up with another 3-game winning streak later in November against Seattle, Washington. And then they had the 2-game winning streak against Tampa Bay, New Jersey. So it looks like when they do win games, they string together a couple winnable games. This is Sharks or no bet for me. This is a pretty nice line, though. Plus 190 to fade Buffalo is definitely very, very appealing. And I'm very, very close to pulling the trigger on it. But yeah, in this one. But yeah, for me, it'd be Sharks or no bet. Columbus Blue Jackets money line, first period and over. Fair. Sabres winning in red would be so typical. Pass. Yeah, this feels like one of those where the Sabres win a close game. But yeah. I'm alive, but my voice is gone. Fair. Your voice was annoying anyway. Over 6.5. If the Sharks didn't beat the Shark Killer Stolars, I'd say the Sharks money line, so Buffalo puck line or team total over. Fair. Tim feel better. Alex Tuck plus 160 goal. Sabres puck line. Yeah, probably. Tage Thompson anytime goal. Sabres team total over is 3.5 minus 135. Damn, that's expensive. Will Smith anytime goal. The Fresh Prince of San Jose. Macklin celebrating 2+ assists at 7-1. And Ice X laughing at something there. All right, we ready for some Islander talk? Let's get into it. We have the New York Islanders. They're back at home to face the Winnipeg Jets. I'm seeing the Jets at, minus 190 now. This has got to be they've got to have confirmed Skarek by now, right? There's no way this line is as high as it is if they haven't already. Because when I backed the Winnipeg Jets, actually I believe it was 180. So maybe the line is the way just moving up a little bit just from people betting the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah. Okay, it's the same. It's basically the same number I got earlier. I'm on the Winnipeg Jets -1 at -114 against the New York Islanders here. Let's get into it. This is a bad spot for the New York Islanders. They're coming in off of on a second half of back-to-back, a third game in 4 nights. And if you're Patrick Waugh, there's no reason to put Ilya Sorokin between the pipes tonight. He has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight games since in a row, and 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of the last 15 games from the Islanders. You're killing him. You're absolutely killing Sorokin because you can't trust Sorokin net. Well, guess what? The season's over, Islanders. It is. And we saw it last night. The season was basically on the line. You had an opportunity to gain points on the Rangers in a revenge spot. The Rangers were on the second half of back-to-back. They were in a third game in 4 nights. They were missing 2 of their top defensemen. And you go in and lay an egg like that. If that's not the Islanders team sending a message to Lou Lamoriello saying they need to sell at this deadline, I don't know what is. And if you're the New York Islanders and the deadline's on the 7th, the Islanders' next game is on the 8th in San Jose. So they have a couple days off after this. If you're an Islander fan, you're going to the game tonight, enjoy Brock Nelson's last game on the island. Enjoy Kyle Palmieri's last game on the island. Potentially Anders Lee, John Gabriel Pageau, Noah Dobson, Tony DeAngelo, Scott Perunovich. There's plenty of players you can sell off at this deadline. It is a seller's market. And if the Islanders want to be a better team next year and the next few years, and you want to look at what Washington's doing after they had a retool last year, I would look towards that. And if Lou Lamoriello was smart, if this team was smart, Brock Nelson wouldn't play tonight. Palmieri wouldn't play tonight because they would be looking to trade him. Pageau would be scratched tonight. But if you're the Islanders, you got to go through a retool. And this should be the last time we see those guys wearing an Islanders sweater at UBS Arena. It's tonight. I do not expect Ilya Sorokin to go. I expect it to be Jakub Sarek. And if it is Sarek, we're going to see the Winnipeg Jets jump to around -210, -220. I would bet it now. We've already seen a decent line movement already. I got -114 on BetMGM. This is the last game before the Islanders should sell at the deadline. And a 5-2 type of win for the Winnipeg Jets would hopefully be the exclamation point to Lou Lamoriello that this team needs to go through a rebuild. It's a terrible spot for them. Third game in 4 nights, second half of a back-to-back. Can't start Sorokin. It's got to be Sark. And if it's Sark, why not tackle a little bit more Winnipeg Jets on there? I would look for a team total over as well. And I want to take a look what that is real quick. That is 3.5 at +1. And I can get +110 over on Bovada. I'm going to double down on Winnipeg tonight. I think Winnipeg takes care of business. So I'm going to add the team total over on top of the Winnipeg Jets -1. I think this is a 5-2 type of Jets win. And this sends the Islanders into their retool. Because if you don't sell at the deadline and you continue to be delusional and think you can make the playoffs this year, it's pretty simple. You'll be looking like the Chicago Blackhawks or the San Jose Sharks the last few years. You'll be dead last in the NHL. Nobody's going to want to go to your games, and it's going to be a long rebuild and hoping prospects pan out. And you don't want to do that if you're the New York Islanders when you have the core of Horvat, Barzal, Sorokin for the next 6 to 7 years. So for me, I'm doubling up on the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg Jets -1 at -114. Winnipeg Jets team total over 3.5 at +110. Jets puck line. Helly's status change to likely. I believe he will as well. Jets puck line +105. Shout out to Jonathan Davis. Yep. Jets in regulation. No way that they actually sell. Maybe. Buy Horvat? No. Horvat? No. And Siplikov? No. I'm going to say those two stay. If you see trades, by the way, for the Islanders, it's not going to be Siplikov. It's not going to be Horvat. I think Siplikov is in the future going forward. I think Horvat definitely is because you look at his contract. He signed there for long term. It'll be Nelson on an expiring contract. It'll be Palmieri on an expiring contract. John Gabriel Pageau has one more year after this. Maybe you get somebody to take Mayfield. Anders Lee is expiring next year. It's more of guys on expiring contracts for the retool. It's not Bo Horvat. I promise you, Bo Horvat's going nowhere. He's going nowhere. Bo Horvat. I promise you. He's not going anywhere. He's somebody you build around with Horvat, with Sorokin, and Siplikov. Igor Shinigov was injured. Yeah, he was for a little bit. I don't know if he's back or not. He's back in the lineup tonight. Yep. So, yeah. Double up spot here for me, fading the New York Islanders in this one. We'll move on. New Jersey Devils taking on the Dallas Stars. We have the Stars -175 favorites with a total of 5.5. Let's take a look at the this matchup here, where we have the Dallas Stars. Let me get up their numbers here. Dallas Stars are coming in on back-to-back wins. They took care of business back on the second against the St. Louis Blues, a 6-3 win over them. That was their second straight win and their fifth win in the last 6 games. Their only loss was the last game of the road trip against Columbus. That was a 6-4 win for the Blue Jackets. On the flip side, New Jersey coming in off of that shutout loss against Vegas. This is the last game of their road trip. They go home to play Winnipeg after this. So I think this could be a potential bad spot here for the Devils. When you look at injuries, Jack Hughes they say day to day. I'm expecting him to be out long term, and I expect them to put him on the LTIR. He was injured in the third period of that Vegas game. So this is their first game without Jack Hughes. Is this a spot where you see them step up and rise to the occasion? Sorry. Or is this a spot where they fall apart? And I would be interested in the Devils if this wasn't the last game of a 5-game road trip. They're in Nashville, Colorado, Utah, Vegas, and they're finishing in Dallas, probably ready to go home to play Winnipeg after this. On the flip side, Dallas coming off a back-to-back win. So I do think Dallas is playing better hockey as of late. And however, they were badly outplayed in that game against the St. Louis Blues. They were outshot 42-21, yet they won 6-3. How? They went 4-for-4 on the power play. So that was kind of crazy to see there. Does that continue? I don't know. At this number, I would only look towards the Devils. The Devils have been a strong road team. Granted, that's been with Hughes. And actually, strong road team. Actually, they're 18-15 on the money line on the road. That's good if for a road record. You're not expecting too much over 500 on the road. Basically, tread water on the road, play well at home, and you're good. And I think that's exactly what 18, 13, and 2. Yeah, you're 5 games over NHL 500 on the road. That's a strong road team. At this number, I'm only looking Devils in this spot, and I would, and if this wasn't the last game of the road trip for them, I'd probably be on the Devils. It's also a little bit of short-term revenge. These two teams played on February the 22nd. It was a 4-2 win by the Dallas Stars. I would only look towards New Jersey in this game, and the more and more I look at it, the more and more I'm tempted on them. Because you're coming in off of an ugly loss, a 2-0 game against Vegas. I'm getting plus 150 on the Devils. You know what? I'm going to take a shot with the Devils in this spot here, plus 150. They've been a strong road team. It's a Devils team that I do believe in. This is the star player injured angle. Where you bet on the team missing their star player on their first game back or on their first game out, and you fade them on their first game back. I am going to be on the Devils here in this one, plus 150 over on Fanatics. I'll take a shot with Los Diablos in this one here in this game. I think this is a really strong price to get them at, plus 150, and I think this is a good a potential nice spot for them here. The only thing that kind of trips me up is the last game of a road trip, but the road trip hasn't necessarily been a successful one for the Devils. So I would look towards New Jersey here at a nice plus price tag in this game. So plus 150 here for the Devils for me in this game. Let's see. Ironic timing, breaking fake news. There you go. Devils money line, Devils in rank. Love it. Love it. Stars puck line, plus 150. Stars team total over. Matt Duchene, anytime goal. Wyatt Johnson, anytime goal. All right. If you follow this Devils win-lose trend, they're supposed to win this one. But if they lose, they'll be considered a bad bipolar team, I guess. Fair. Go Demons? Yes, go Demons. Let's get it today. Good luck, y'all. What is good? Stop, Gio. 3 games remaining on the card. We have the Edmonton Oilers as humongous monster favorites, minus 325 against the Anaheim Ducks in this game. We have total of 6.5 in this game. Crazy to see this number on the Anaheim Ducks, who have not been a particularly bad team. They're coming off of a bad loss, though. They're at home against the Chicago Blackhawks as plus 155 favorites, minus 155 favorites, my bad, and they lose 6-3. So they're coming in off of a bad loss. They've had a few days to sit on that. On the flip side, the Edmonton Oilers coming back after their long after a road trip here, where they're basically since the Four Nations break, they have not had a home game since February the 7th. So almost a month since the Edmonton Oilers had played at Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. They lost their first 4 games of the road trip in Philadelphia, Washington, Tampa Bay, and Florida before getting a win against the Carolina Hurricanes to close out that homestand. On the flip side, Anaheim, they will hit the road after that loss against Chicago. I don't trust Edmonton as this big of a favorite. And now you can look at Anaheim in this game, plus 300 dog in this spot. Maybe it's a first period money line for Anaheim. And for me, I think Anaheim is well worth a look in this game. I don't trust the what have the Oilers done lately to prove they should be laying minus 325? This Ducks team has been a little bit scrappy as of late. And previous to the 6-3 loss against the Blackhawks of all teams, they have not lost by multiple goals in 7 straight games. Previous to that, the only losses they had was a 3-2 loss against Buffalo and an overtime loss against Detroit. So this has been a Ducks team that has been extremely scrappy. And maybe I go back to what I played on who do you call it yesterday? On the Sharks yesterday and go +2 because I'm asking them just to keep it close. Could the Oilers potentially pull away and win by 2 and I push? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm implementing there. And it's just because I don't like +1.5 puck lines, but I think the 2.5 is going to be too expensive. So I'm going to look to take a shot here potentially with the Ducks on a 2.5 line. Oh, wow. Thanks for nothing, Fanatics. It goes immediately from 1.5 to 2.5. Fanatics does not want you to bet the plus 2.5. That's a little interesting there. Let me head over to BetMGM to see what the number is for that. I want the Ducks plus 2. Oh wow, Brad Marchand is week to week with an upper body injury, so he's out. That's an interesting injury there. I want to just take a look here. I don't want to shop around for the whole freaking for a while. So spread, let's see. Okay, it's minus 170 for the plus 2.5. So let's take a look here. 170 and 115 for the puck line, plus minus 126. I'm going to do that. Ducks plus 2 at minus 126. I'm going to take a shot at that. If you guys want to go for a bomb, I won't talk you off of Anaheim money line or anything like that. But I'm going to play it a little safe here. Plus 2, minus 126 with the Anaheim Ducks. Over on BetMGM. Over 6.5, I could see that. Over 5.5, fair. Jets, Canes, parlay. I'm torn on Hurricanes. I am. If you're looking to parlay somebody with the Jets, Colorado. I think Colorado is a better option than the Hurricanes, personally. Sharks, Sabres over 6.5. Fair. We'll move on. Those Colorado Avalanche taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. We have the Avalanche minus 255 favorites, total of 6.5 in this game. I have no faith in the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's needless to say. I did back them the last time they did that. I looked at a card. I backed them on the money line against Philly. Since then, they've played twice. They lost to Boston. They lost to Toronto. This is the third game in 4 nights, and they hit the road to go to altitude on that third game in 4 nights. So a bad spot. Also, it's the 4th game in 6 nights for them. So a lot of hockey being played by a veteran Pittsburgh Penguins team. On the flip side, we have a well-rested Colorado Avalanche team that's just been chilling at home waiting for them. They're coming in off of a 5-2 win against the Minnesota Wild in their last game. And this is a Colorado Avalanche team that this feels like a smash and grab spot for Colorado. We have a exhausted Penguins team that does not play well on the road, 10-21 on the road this year. And this feels like a potential double-up spot on the Colorado Avalanche, first period and full game, puck lines. And I don't puck line very often, but I feel like this is one where the Avalanche will run away with this game. And I'm getting a full game puck line at minus 110. I'm getting a first period puck line plus 120. I want to fade the Penguins in this spot. It's a bad spot for them, and they're off of an overtime game. They had yesterday off, but that was a travel day really for them. So not a fun spot there if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins, a veteran-laden team playing a third game in 4 nights. So this is difficult for me, or not difficult, but difficult spot for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't like laying these big numbers often, but this feels like smash and grab with the Colorado Avalanche. I'm taking the first period puck line at plus 120, full game puck line minus 110 in this one here before these lines continue to climb even more, which I believe they should. And if you're looking for a team to throw into a 2-teamer, I think Colorado is a great dance partner for other favorites that you like. If you are a parlay bettor, which I am not, but if you are a parlay bettor, I would recommend Colorado money line as a parlay piece. So that would be kind of my my thought process on that game. I think this is probably a 5-1 type of win for Colorado. So first period puck line, full game puck line for me, doubling up on Colorado. Over 6.5. Plus 167 for Avs money line in the over 6.5 same game parlay. There you go. Shane Goss is plus 700 versus the old team. Nice. Final game on the day, the Seattle Kraken taking on the Minnesota Wild. The Kraken minus 115 favorites with a total of 5.5 in this game. Let's take a look at the matchup here in this spot, where we have Seattle coming in off of a win against the Vancouver Canucks. They won 6-3 in a game that I believe I did not bet because I did not cap that card, and that would have been a game I would have been all over. Seattle, probably Seattle -1, following the 7-2 loss against the Blues. The Wild snapped a 3-game losing streak against Detroit, Utah, and Colorado with a 1-0 win against the Boston Bruins in their last game. They had a day off, and they travel from Minnesota to Seattle in this matchup here, in a matchup where they've won 6 of the last 10 games. Seattle's won the last 2, though. And looking at this matchup for me, it's tricky. I don't really want the Kraken as a favorite. That's kind of for sure. But is this a Minnesota Wild team I particularly trust right now? They've lost 3 of the last 4 games, and they've kind of struggled. And they really had to struggle to beat a Bruins team I'm not very high on right now. So it's tough to get behind this Minnesota Wild team at the moment. I am higher on them the most. Unfortunately, I do have futures on them, which those are dead. I took them in Colorado to win the division, expecting Winnipeg to fall off, and they've done anything but Winnipeg. So for me, no play to end the card. So looks like it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plays in the NHL for me today. Nashville, Jets -1 and the team total over, the Devils, the Ducks +2, and the double up on the Colorado Avalanche. So that is it for the NHL card. We'll head back to the chat. We'll head on out. Wild over 5.5 -105. Fair? Barf. Exactly. But that is everything for today's card. If you guys have not already, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the Earle Sports Bets channel. If you guys are watching on other platforms like Picks and Parleys, Winners and Whiners, Twitter page, or YouTube, be sure to head over to the YouTube channel of Earle Sports Bets to hit that subscribe button. We appreciate everybody who does. But that's going to just about do it for this one. We'll catch you guys same time, same place tomorrow for another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. Good luck, everyone.